Netanyahu. Listen close. I'm only saying this once. I woke up one morning, my intelligence chief threw a file on my desk and said, "Mr. President, we found the snake." I opened it, saw my own protocol officer's face, 12 years sitting beside me, 12 years selling every breath I took straight to Tel Aviv. That second I gave one order, hit them all before sunrise. 43 locations, one button, boom. 43 Mossad rats in handcuffs in 60 minutes flat. Your cultural attaché was running to the airport with 3 fake passports and $340,000 cash, crying in Hebrew like a baby. We grabbed him at the gate. Your station chief was burning papers in his safe house. Too late, brother. I already had every page copied. I locked all 43 in one hot room, no water, no toilet, just their own panic. 2 hours later, your big shot businessman cracked, started screaming names, addresses, bank accounts, everything. Why? Because he knew you left him to rot. Then the dominoes fell. Mali gave me 9 more, Niger 7, Chad 11, Sahel 8, Kenya 6, Ethiopia 5, Ghana 4, 50 extra rats in one night, and the cherry on top, your Johannesburg station chief walked into South African intelligence himself, dropped 2 hard drives on the table, and said, "I'm done." Why? You ordered him to kill Mandela's granddaughter? He said no. You threatened his kids in Tel Aviv. So he chose us. He chose Africa. He gave us every Mossad file for the entire continent, 50 years of dirt. Decades of your dirty work, gone in one single night. I didn't just cut your network, I ripped it out root by root, burned the roots, salted the earth. You had safe houses, fake companies, bank accounts, local dogs, everything, all finished. You had eyes in my bedroom, my kid's school, my wife's car, all blind now. You had ears in every meeting, all deaf now. You had hands ready to choke Africa, all broken now. That empire you spent generations building, I smashed it like cheap glass, and I smiled while doing it. Your last spy in Africa is either in my prison or running for his life. And guess what? I know the runners too. 14 escaped to Tel Aviv. I have their home addresses, their wives' names, their children's schools. Interpol red notices already flying. Sleep tight, Netanyahu. Your African chapter is closed forever. And I wrote the last sentence with your own blood. You thought you could play God with African blood, Netanyahu.
Got involved. Russia just got involved, да. Нам нужна твоя помощь. Что? Как дела? Russia just sent a heavy cargo plane to Venezuela. And not just any heavy cargo plane, they sent the Wagner Group. The Wagner Group is a mercenary group that is sent to do high unalivings. They go in like the fucking boogeyman. They're worse than the CIA and the KGB combined. And I need you to understand how bad this is, and this is how bad they're getting ready to fight us. The route that heavy cargo plane took was a route that it skipped all Western nations, okay? It went through Armenia, Algeria, Morocco, Mauritania, and then Senegal, and shot straight to Venezuela. No detection. There are 50 aircrafts and about 200 military personnel on that flight. A day after the United States of America hit 4 boats in the Pacific Ocean. Meaning we literally just told Russia we were hitting the whole fucking Caribbean. Like, if we were lying on the fucking media and saying we were just targeting Venezuela, he came over here and confirmed it and said, "Los Sucada." Now, you might not see anything wrong with that, baby. But that's the day after we moved the USS Gerald 4 all the way from Europe, which is the biggest warship in the entire fucking world. That warship is a little fucking Atlantis. We have 4,000 Marines outside, 4,500 Navy sailors, and a couple of different U.S. destroyers, meaning that's carrying tens of thousands of people. And Russia has an activation military base in Nicaragua. I told you that they built a military base on June 10th of 2022 in Nicaragua under President Daniel Ortega. So if it was a little minuscule and he wanted to do surveillance, he could have taken the opportunity 110% of deploying them from Nicaragua, sending them through Panama, and getting them to Venezuela. But he did not. He sent the Wagner Group from Russia. Meaning them motherfuckers are going to do exactly what they did in Africa, which means go undetected from Russia to Africa, which means goes undetected from fucking Venezuela to America. And the Pentagon already warned you in March that we were going to have sleeper cells in this country and that you needed to stop mobilizing in big areas because they were worried about Americans being attacked. They just added a different level to this bullshit real quick, and I want you to understand this is not a good level. Because for the first time in years, Russia has practiced their nuclear missile tests. There's only one country Russia would ever need to use their nuclear missiles against. It's a chess move because Donald Trump is currently tagging on Malaysia, Thailand, Japan, Argentina, and other countries to steal rare earth minerals from instead of China to take them out of the ballpark of the market. They might see this as an incentive to also currently come in because of Taiwan. And North Korea tested their missile tests outside of South Korea while Donald Trump was there today, showing that he don't give a fuck about Donald Trump at all. So we're gonna have to pay attention to this, because if Donald Trump hits Venezuela on soil, baby, we about to have some action on soil. I swear to Bob. I swear to Bob.
America now is getting ready for 2 wars. So Trump stopped a lot of the wars, right? The useless wars. But now we're getting ready to do 2 wars on 2 battlefronts. And what are those? We have strikes ready to begin in Venezuela, and I heard those can go off at any moment. We could be getting an update on your phone even during this broadcast that we're hitting sites, we're hitting targets in Venezuela. So strikes are ready to begin in Venezuela at any moment, and now Trump is telling the military to prepare for what? Nigeria, Africa. America now is getting ready.
50 years of dirt, decades of your dirty work, gone in one single night.
That you intend to die on, this is it. If they manage to put this in place, while everybody's distracted with arguing over Charlie Kirk and, debating whether Trump's peace plan is viable and, whether the Arabs are the good guys or the Jews are the bad guys or what's going on, all this sort of stuff, and distracted by all this crap, then this is going to come online. And the only thing that is going to stop it is our complete non-compliance. And again, withdrawing service from the people that are attempting to enslave humanity this way. You don't have to put up with this. Maybe, you don't want to have a revolution, you're a non-violent person, you don't want to do anything untoward, you don't want to get yourself in trouble. You don't believe that there's anybody you can vote in or out to fix the problem, and you're correct, because you can't. There is no political remedy to any of this. Well, one thing you can do is withdraw service from all of these people. That's something we can all do. Maybe if enough people actually wake up to themselves and realize that we are the ones with the power, then we can change it.
People died. We were told to fall in line. I guess the all-seeing eye thought that we were asleep or were blind when the precursors got synthesized and the overseas companies thrived. Never even got sanctioned, never even got fined. 20 years after the nation got lost in the wash of narcotic prescriptions, cartels got precursor shipments, and then it really got wicked. When 1 million people go from pills to heroin because they're hopelessly addicted, you could flood the block with straight poison fentanyl before they ever know the difference.
I was 20 years old from a real small town, never heard about a pill till Bill came round. So the FDA came out and made a claim they had a pill for pain, and then they gave it a name. They called it Oxycontin. From the top to bottom, they brought it into our cities, and it was never the same. They had a plan all along to get the people addicted. I know it's hard to believe, so I came to show you the game. Buy up the medical journals that sit in the office of doctors we trust. Send out the sales representatives, pay them incentives to push out the drug. Convince every doctor that it's not addictive with peer-reviewed studies they fund. Target the vulnerable cities and mislead the people about what Oxy does. This is the way that they open the door to get people addicted who never before picked up a drug or knew about an addiction. They hooked everyone with a written prescription. Fentanyl never could happen without Oxycontin leading us into this position. Now we got kids that are dying from taking the pill because they didn't know poison was in it. Dealers are pressing the pills and they gotten so good at it now you cannot tell the difference. Mothers and fathers are burying kids who had hopes and had dreams and they still should be living. Families are broken and torn into pieces. A heart never heals from the pain when you miss them. They're not coming back now. It's our time to act, let your voices be heard so that they don't forget them.
Hip-hop gangster rap being orchestrated by record companies for the benefit of private prisons. And this is really, I would argue, part of a much larger scandal here, because if you're familiar with Gary Webb in the Dark Alliance about crack cocaine exploding involving CIA and the Iran-Contra network, you have weapons flooding these areas, you have drugs flooding these areas. Why is that significant? Well, the Promise Software scandal I mentioned earlier is very complex again, but one of the main players in that is Wackenhut. And another one of the main players in that is MCA, the Music Corporation of America. Basically, its subsequent iterations come to dominate hip-hop in that period. And Wackenhut, which is now Geo Group, is was then and still is now one of the main private prison companies in the U.S. And then Clinton passes the crime bill in 1994 that basically makes all of these things offenses and makes it much easier
floods the prisons
to fill the prisons. And what are some of the companies that end up using prison labor around this time? Well, Leslie Wexner's Victoria's Secret is one. And another company that I believe still uses it is General Dynamics, which is Lester Crown's company. Lester Crown being one of the mega group guys. Some of the biggest corporations in the world. One of them is Walmart, which has longstanding ties to the Clinton family, the Waltons. It's free slave labor.
Free slave labor, yeah.
The difference, and they're not going to allow people to step out of line.
The Bible has warned about this for thousands of years, and it's actually happening. In slow motion, by the way. This system, where nobody can buy or sell unless they have the mark, is being built as we speak. Oracle, Palantir, and other AI companies are leading this revolution. Through NVIDIA, they're all working together and they're all paying each other. And we don't need some sci-fi tattoo to get the mark of the beast. They're gonna sell it to you with some friendly app. It's gonna look innocent, but far from innocent it will be. Imagine you're at the store, you just grab your stuff and you leave. It scans your face, it knows who you are, and that just gets deducted onto your account, right? Now, imagine you're not part of this system. You walk into the store, your face will be scanned regardless of whether you belong to the system or not. But what happens when you get scanned and then red lights start flashing saying, hey, guys, stop, we have a non-citizen in this store. They're not in the system. And then SWAT teams show up and forcibly remove you.
I'm telling you right now, to the Muslim community, that this is not going to go away, that you have now woken up a sleeping giant. As we got some breaking news just coming in, that there's a scathing report that calls on all United States to label Islamic group infiltrating all aspects of American life as now a terrorist organization. Are you happy now? Are you happy that now that you got your pound of flesh, that you're gonna bring this type of rhetoric into peaceful Islamic homes? Governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, has just come out and declared that the Muslim Brotherhood is a terrorist organization. The report goes on to say that a prominent global research center has released a comprehensive report of what it says is a multi-generational campaign by the Muslim Brotherhood to transform Western society from within and covertly infiltrate the United States of America. As I'm reading further, it goes on to say that the Muslim Brotherhood allegedly targeted U.S. government agencies for infiltration, including the State Department, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Justice, through career appointments and advisory roles. The report is going on to say and asking for the United States of America to designate the Muslim Brotherhood as, again, a terrorist organization. Basically, an enemy within. That this is not just simply a political movement, but a transitional ideological project that adapts itself to Western systems while working to undermine them. That the Brotherhood has learned to use the very freedoms of democracy as tools to erode it from within, exploiting the tolerance and openness of liberal societies as strategic vulnerabilities. And we, the people, want to say thank you for bringing this to our attention. We heard you loud and clear. We have been complacent. We have been sleeping at the wheel. But now the giant has awoken. And to anybody that has been trying to infiltrate the United States of America from within, I always say be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it.
Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso, is in danger. And the usual suspects, the United States, are up to their usual games. I'm going to tell you what they've accused him of and why. I'm going to give you the exact step-by-step playbook they use against African leaders and how every one of you, from Africa to Black America, can help protect the greatest president Africa's had in generations. Pay attention.
I can imagine a situation, though, in which the ruling elite of a country is receiving gratuities on the side that in order to the benefit of the strongman leader and not to the populace of the country. Does that sort of corruption and bribery go on with regard to the Belt and Road?
Absolutely, Chairman. I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traoré and Burkina Faso, as they know that both whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime.
That was General Michael Langley, commander of U.S. Africa Command. He is the mouthpiece accusing Captain Traoré of stealing gold from his own people. Take note of that, because I will return to this important detail later in this video. So they say Traoré is abusing his own people, yet Burkinabès aren't complaining. They're celebrating the man who built the country's first national gold refinery. Takes basic pay, no mansions, no Rolexes, no luxury cars. If he's stealing, where's the evidence? There is none. They've never needed evidence when it comes to Africa. In 1983, Thomas Sankara took power in Burkina Faso through a coup. In just months, he made the country food self-sufficient, vaccinated millions, built schools, empowered women, and warned Africa. He who feeds you controls you. 4 years later, Sankara was assassinated by his own friend, Blaise Compaoré. That traitor to Africa ruled Burkina Faso for 27 years up until 2014. The West didn't call him a criminal and worked with him for almost 3 decades. In 2022, Captain Traoré took power in Burkina Faso through. In just 2 years, he built the country's first gold refinery, kicked out French troops, launched free education for all his citizens, signed a nuclear energy deal with Russia, built affordable housing for low-income communities, and formed the Sahel Alliance with Mali and Niger to defend African sovereignty. The Western media have not reported on a single one of these amazing deeds. Search Google and all you will see are articles about unrest and his government labeled a military junta. France had 100 years in Burkina Faso, and they didn't do what Traoré has done in less than 2. This is Antony Blinken, former US Secretary of State. That is Gabon's General Brice Oligui Nguema, who took over Gabon in a coup. Nguema ousted Ali Bongo, whose family ruled Gabon for over 56 years with French support. I don't believe it was a real coup. I believe it was a changing of the guard, because I found out Nguema is actually Ali Bongo's cousin. This is literally a family affair. Blinken, the same man who accused African Stream of working with Russia and had them deplatformed everywhere, is here welcoming a coup leader to Washington. The US government then gave this coup leader millions of dollars for his presidential campaign. Last month, Nguema won that election and is now president of Gabon. He hasn't done a tenth of what Traoré's done for his people. 2 coup leaders, one the US calls a criminal, the other is welcomed to the White House. Africans, Black America, they're playing us for fools. I will now give you the African Leader Elimination Playbook. Burn this into your minds. Phase 1, discredit the leader and label their government illegitimate. Gaddafi was called a dictator before they bombed Libya. Phase 2, sanction and bully the leader and his nation into submission. ECOWAS was pushed by the West to sanction Mali and Niger after their coups and rejection of France. Phase 3, destabilized through sudden random coup attempts and unrest. Lumumba faced chaos in Congo before his CIA-backed assassination. Gaddafi faced endless unrest before his execution. Phase 4, claim human rights violations against the leader and his government. Gaddafi, Lumumba, Mugabe, and Saddam Hussein were accused of abusing their own people to justify intervention and the restoration of democracy by the West. These claims in recent decades are typically pushed by a black person to absolve claims of racial prejudice. They sent Colin Powell after Saddam. Obama took down Gaddafi. Now Langley is being sent to take down Traoré. It's so transparent, it's insulting. Phase 5, arm opposition and insurgencies and call them freedom fighters in the media. People forget Osama bin Laden was a CIA asset in the 1980s with the Mujahideen, the same people who later became Al-Qaeda. Phase 6, remove or eliminate that leader using his own people. Sankara was assassinated by Compaoré, his friend. Lumumba betrayed by Congolese rivals. Gaddafi lynched by Libyan rebels. Phase 7. Oversee democratic elections to install and maintain a West-friendly leader. These leaders then stay in power for up to half a century, while the West calls it democracy. Ibʁaim, Equatorial Guinea, 46 years in power. Biya, Cameroon, 43 years in power. Bongo, Gabon, 42 years in power. Museveni, Uganda, 39 years in power. Ungweso, Republic of the Congo, 39 years in power. Kagame, Rwanda, 25 years in power. These are things the people of no Western nation, including the US, would tolerate. Imagine Trump staying in power for 46 years and claiming it to be democratic. That is what they've pushed on us in Africa since they allegedly gave us independence. Some of these African presidents are in their 80s and 90s now and have been in power longer than most of their citizens have been alive. Notice not one of these African leaders have spoken in defense of Captain Traoré. Not one of them have supported him. Tinubu of Nigeria joined forces with other West African leaders to sanction Traoré and his allies in Mali and Niger. It is truly embarrassing. They tell us Russia and China are evil, but history tells us Russia and China never colonized or enslaved us. History tells us they built roads, railways, energy plants, refineries, and telecommunications across Africa, while the West built debt, division, and dependency on their monetary systems. Ask yourself, do you care more about what a person might do to you or what they have and are doing to you? America, Black America, the United States government does this to Africa in your name. If you say no, they lose their mandate and moral high ground. Because if even their own people won't believe their lies, what excuse do they have left? Now, and this is important, we cannot have another Blaise Compaoré. It must be made clear any African who harms Captain Traoré will face consequences. Their family names will be forever destroyed. Their children, grandchildren, and associates will become persona non grata across all of Africa. They will not be welcome anywhere on this continent. We as Africans must have a code. Anyone who betrays the people cannot sit as president enjoying the spoils of their treachery. They want Captain Traoré gone not because of what he is doing, but because of what he is inspiring. Imagine if he were president of...
I feel very happy to be up here with you nevertheless, and that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble. The fact is, the United States has been taken advantage of by the world for many, many years, but not any longer, as you probably noticed. In a period of just 7 months, I have ended 7 unendable wars. They said they were unendable. I'm very honored to have done it. It's too bad that I had to do these things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help in any of them. They never even received a phone call from the United Nations offering to help in finalizing the deal. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the 2 things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. Thank you very much. And by the way, it's working now. It just went on. Thank you. I think I should just do it the other way. It's easier. But later I realized that the United Nations wasn't there for us. They weren't there. That being the case, what is the purpose of the United Nations? The UN has such tremendous potential. For the most part, at least for now, all they seem to do is write a really strongly worded letter and then never follow that letter up. It's empty words, and empty words don't solve war. Not only is the UN not solving the problems it should, too often, it's actually creating new problems for us to solve. The best example is the #1 political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled. Your countries are being ruined. The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders. In 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journeying into the United States. Think of that. The UN is supporting people that are illegally coming into the United States, and then we have to get them out. The UN also provided food, shelter, transportation, and debit cards to illegal aliens. Can you believe that? On the way to infiltrate our southern border. What took place is totally unacceptable. The UN is supposed to stop invasions, not create them and not finance them. I encourage all countries to take their own stand in defense of their citizens as well. You have to do that because I see it. I'm not mentioning names. I see it, and I can call every single one of them out. You're destroying your countries. They're being destroyed. Europe is in serious trouble. They've been invaded by a force of illegal aliens like nobody's ever seen before. Illegal aliens are pouring into Europe. Nobody is ever, and nobody's doing anything to change it, to get them out. It's not sustainable. And because they choose to be politically correct, they're doing just absolutely nothing about it. And I have to say, I look at London where you have a terrible mayor, terrible, terrible mayor. And it's been so changed, so changed. Now they want to go to Sharia law. But you're in a different country. You can't do that. Both the immigration and their suicidal energy ideas will be the death of Western Europe if something is not done immediately. This cannot be sustained. What makes the world so beautiful is that each country is unique. But to stay this way, every sovereign nation must have the right to control their own borders. You have the right to control your borders, as we do now, and to limit the sheer numbers of migrants entering their countries and paid for by the people of that nation that were there and that built that particular.
Watch out, man, because if them horses gets out, they'll just kill.
Happening in Africa, especially in Burkina Faso with this guy Traoré. People are talking about him like he's some kind of hero, but let me tell you, he's pushing his country down a very dangerous path. Very dangerous. He kicked out France, he's cozying up to Russia, maybe even China, and he says it's about sovereignty. But what I see is a man making deals that could turn Burkina Faso into a playground for America's enemies. We can't ignore that. The United States has invested billions of dollars into Africa over decades, trying to bring stability, security, and opportunity. And now you've got a leader who thinks he can throw it all away with one speech. They call it independence. I call it reckless. People are cheering for him because he talks tough, but talking tough doesn't build jobs, it doesn't create security, and it doesn't...
Mr. Donald Trump, former President of the United States, you have spoken of me as reckless, as dangerous, as a young man who does not understand the world. You say I am pushing Burkina Faso toward Russia, toward China, toward isolation. You say America has invested billions in Africa, and that without America, without NATO, without the so-called leadership of the West, Africa cannot survive. But let me ask you this. If America has invested billions in Africa, why are our people still poor? Why are our farmers still struggling to feed their children? Why do our young men and women risk their lives crossing deserts and oceans, searching for dignity outside their own land? If billions have truly come, then those billions have not been for Africa. They have been for corporations, for military contractors, for foreign interests. They have not fed the African child. They have not built the African school. They have not healed the African patient. They have not liberated the African mind. You call me reckless for expelling France, for rejecting foreign troops who have sat on our soil for decades. But tell me, Mr. Trump, what has their presidents brought us? Did the French bases bring security? Did the American drones bring peace? For over 60 years, foreign soldiers have been here in Africa promising protection. And yet terrorism has grown, insecurity has spread, lives have been destroyed. If this is your version of stability, then we do not want it. You say America first means keeping the world safe. But safe for whom? Safe for the corporations that drain our gold, our uranium, our oil? Safe for the armies that walk through our countries without visas, without passports, immune to our laws? Safe for the powerful in Washington while the powerless in Ouagadougou suffer? That is not safety, Mr. Trump. That is domination disguised as partnership. Let us speak truth. You accuse me of being close to Russia. You accuse me of looking to China. But who gave you the right to decide who Africa can speak to? Who gave America the authority to say that if Africa chooses its own friends, it is dangerous? You, Mr. Trump, say America first. You boast about it. You campaign on it. You built your whole brand on it. So why should Africa not say Africa first? Why should Burkina Faso not say Burkina Faso first? Why do you demand for your people what you deny for ours? This is the arrogance of empire. This is the hypocrisy of those who claim freedom for themselves but impose chains on others. You call me young. Yes, I am young. But perhaps it is time the old order of exploitation hears the voice of the youth. For 60 years, Africa has been told to wait for development, to wait for investment, to wait for respect. We are tired of waiting. The youth of Africa will no longer kneel. We will no longer beg. We will no longer ask permission to be free. You speak of terrorism, Mr. Trump. You say that without America, Africa cannot defeat it. But let me remind you, terrorism did not grow in Africa because Africans invited it. It grew because of wars imposed on us, because of chaos spread in Libya, because of weapons that flowed from NATO's adventures, because of policies written in Washington and Paris. You destabilized our region, and now you say you are the solution. This is like the arsonist calling himself the firefighter. In Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger, we have chosen a different path. We have formed the alliance of Sahel states, not as puppets of Moscow, not as colonies of Paris, not as dependents of Washington, but as sovereign nations who will defend ourselves. We know our land, we know our people. We know how to distinguish a terrorist from a farmer, a criminal from a villager. Your drones cannot, your satellites cannot. You bomb from the sky, and innocent lives are lost. We fight on the ground, shoulder to shoulder with our people, and we will win. You say I am isolating Burkina Faso from progress, but what is progress if it comes at the cost of sovereignty? We do not need lectures from America about progress. Progress is not skyscrapers in New York while villages in Africa starve. Progress is not billion-dollar corporations mining our gold while our miners die in darkness. Progress is freedom. Progress is dignity. Progress is when the child of Africa can dream without chains. Mr. Trump, you said I am fiery, and you are right. I am fiery because my people burn with hunger for justice. I am fiery because my nation is tired of lies. I am fiery because Africa has been silent too long. We were told independence had come, but our banks were still controlled in Paris. We were told we were free, but our armies were trained to obey foreign generals. We were told we were partners, but we were treated as children. The fire you see is not recklessness. It is the fire of liberation, the fire of a continent that will no longer bow. You say America will not stand by while chaos spreads, but I tell you this. America has stood by while Africa bled. America has stood by while dictators were armed, while resources were stolen, while children died of preventable diseases, and worse. America has not only stood by, America has profited. So do not speak to me of chaos, Mr. Trump. Speak to me of justice. Speak to me of equality. Speak to me of respect. We are not against America. We are against domination. We are not against the West. We are against exploitation. We are not against cooperation. We are against dependency. We are not against friendship. We are against slavery in all its forms. Mr. Trump, you said without America, Africa cannot stand. But look at Burkina Faso today. France has left. NATO has gone. And yet we still stand. The sky did not fall. The earth did not collapse. In fact, we are stronger than before. Because for the first time in decades, we stand on our own feet. And to you, Mr. Trump, let me say this directly. You may speak of America first, but we will live Africa first. You may claim to make America great again, but we will make Africa free again. You may call me reckless, but history will call me courageous. And history, not propaganda, will judge us both. So hear me well. The age of domination is over. The age of African sovereignty has begun. We will not kneel. We will not beg. We will not bow. We will fight. We will rise. We will win, because we are the children of this land, and this land is ours.